All right, hey everybody, in this tutorial we are going to learn how to use a potentiometer, which is this little knob that allows us to control an input. So you can see as I twist it one way, it goes all the way down to 0, and then as I twist it the other way, it goes all the way up to 1023. And you could use this value to control any kind of output that you wish. I'm going to leave that one up to you on this one, so this might be a bit of a shorter tutorial. And let's take a look at the wiring. So this is very simple. It just goes from 5 volts into one end of the potentiometer and then ground into the other end of the potentiometer. You could also switch these and it wouldn't matter. And the middle one goes into the analog, just one of the analog pins. In this case, it happens to be 0. And let's take a look at how the potentiometer works. So you have the 3 pins, just like we just wired. And this is basically just a resistor. So the one that I have, this blue one, is a 5K resistor, but you'll have 10K, 100K, 1 million, whatever. There's all different kinds of potentiometers. And that is just the resistance across this loop. And this wiper, it just gets the signal from different parts of the resistance and sends it back into that analog pin. So if you were to put it right up here, the value, so it's going to be 0 and 5 volts. And if you were to put it up here, it would be about 2.5 volts because half of the resistance is done before the pin and half of it is done after it. And the Arduino measures that between 0 and 1023. So up here would be about 500 because that is half of 1,000. If you were to do it down to here, more of the resistance happens after the wiper and less of the resistance is done before it. So you would have greater current. All the way down here, it would be just at about full strength, it would be like 1023 like we had before, because all of the resistance happens after this. It's just like when we used our photoresistor in the earlier ones and we split the resistance with the different values of resistors. And if you were to go over here, it would be less and less and less until all of the resistance happens before it touches that wiper. So let's look at the programming. I've already set it up here. So you just have, we've done all of this before. It's just the serial begin just to kind of monitor this. If you don't need a serial monitor, you don't need that. And then I created a variable called pot, which is in very often shorthand for potentiometer, and just analog reads that pin 0, and then it prints that variable, and then we delay for 300 milliseconds. So you can see now as I change it, as it's going, so 780, it would be like here, and then as it gets less, it's going over and over and over. Whoops. And over until it is at 0. And again, you can use these values for whatever you want. I think we've done a decent amount with outputs so that you can kind of choose how you want to use it. But that is potentiometer. You'll see them all over the place, from light switches or volume controls to light switches and everything. And now that we've done a variable resistor with the photoresistor, and we've done this 3-prong kind of 5-volt ground and signal. And you'll find that a lot of sensors, even if we haven't covered them in these tutorials, they kind of follow the pattern that we've used. So if you have like a temperature sensor or like a pressure sensor or force sensor, that follows what we have been doing. So if you have some of those lying around, even if we haven't covered them in the tutorials, so you can kind of figure out how those work, because they're very simple, or they're very similar to this. So I hope that was helpful with the potentiometers, and next I believe we'll go on to motors. So have a good one, and later.